Hi, Lawrence Lenehan, Chairman and Founder of Resonance. Welcome to Santiago, La República Dominicana. I'm going to show you how clothing is made in a new way. Nowhere on the planet is it made like this. The result is a better industry and a better planet. Come on. $84.97 yards of organic cotton bamboo. Just one roll of 250,000 yards stored in this warehouse. All of it the same. Natural fiber materials, organic, we're certified. This is the most important part of our business, where everything begins. One of the biggest sources of waste in this industry is wasted material. Recently, they showed satellite pictures from space of the Atacama Desert with mountains and mountains of waste. Inventory is the biggest problem that you have. Our platform enables no inventory, no waste from wasted clothes. This color of this roll can be anything you want it, anything a creator has, and it only exists until a customer wants it. Without this, you can't be sustainable. The most important process in everything we do here is called pre-treat. This is where we take our blank material, we put a special formulation based on whatever material it is and the fiber content. It's loaded up here, it runs through a solution, it's all organic chemicals, which then prepares this fabric for the ink to bind to it later on in the process we'll talk about. Comes up, it's pressed through there, and then is straightened. Making clothing, it's a challenge of keeping all the fabric straight. So this blank material looks like nothing's happening, but it goes through, is then dried on, and then it's taken out here. From here, what we then do, again, is straighten it on that machine over there. And once it gets out to the other side of this machine, we're ready to print. Everything that runs through here is on a very, very tight schedule. So we bring these blue bins, now full of the pre-treatment material, load it in, go through here to be able to straighten the fabric. There are cameras here, into the printer machine, and then out over here. The amazing thing that's happening here, this printer has 16 heads, is moving back and forth. The precise color is programmed. We have taken all these different pieces, we put them through our generative AI system to be able to generate this nest. And what that does is takes all the orders from the night before, puts it on in the way that we can use the most amount of material for clothing, the least amount of material for waste. You can see marks. So we put instructions that tell sewers how to put all this together. It comes out of here, it still isn't ready. So steaming is the second most important thing. All that ink you just saw put on now actually goes through here into this loop, and for a precise amount of time, based on the material, it is steamed at a very high temperature, and that ink is then bonded onto the material. Goes all the way, looping all the way through, and then out the other side. So after steaming, it comes out to our washer. And what happens is we need to wash off a little bit of excess that didn't bond through that whole process. So we load the rolls up here. Right now you're seeing silk that comes in, and it goes all the way through, all the way to the end of this 100-foot machine. And I'll meet you at the other end and show you how it's coming out. So now this is coming out. It's gone through 4 chambers of washing and 1 chamber of softening. These are all organic chemicals that we're using, and then we filter the water to save it. We capture all of our rainwater, and we fill a cistern. So we're not using any water from the aquifer that feeds the people of Santiago. It's really important. Our goal is to be 0 water in this important process, because fashion uses more water than almost any other industry out there. So after we get out of the washer, we now go through the dryer. So every material, depending on how thick it is, goes through this massive machine. Comes up and down, again, straightening it during the process, up over these conveyors, where it is then heated and dried and air circulated out, and then comes all the way out over here. And what you have now, finally, after everything, is finished material, which then is where the fun begins. After it's dried, it's inspected for the first time. She's going in and looking at every single error here. What we do is our system follows this through the entire roll as it's being processed. There's a camera here. We're recording everything. We're noting where she's putting this, and it's creating a learning database for us that enables us to not only detect errors, but then ultimately even begin to predict them. Because for us, if one of these pieces is bad, it has to go all the way back to the beginning and start over. So an error at this point is really expensive. By removing these errors, by being able to predict these errors, by being able to eliminate errors, we become much, much more sustainable, and we create much more valuable brands. You ever wonder how your clothing gets so soft and juicy and delicious? Well, here's how. It's a mechanical softener. So after we dry it, we put it through here. So basically for about an hour, hour and a half, all these materials will run through this, will be sucked through this hose, shot out the back at a wall, and then doing it over and over and over and over again. That breaks down all the dye structure, just leaving these soft, buttery fibers, and that's why the clothing is so soft. So after the roll's been dried and then softened, it comes here, where it's cut. All pieces are cut individually, then sorted among different operations that have to be happening in our sewing node. Now what's interesting, these lasers are being guided by this camera, driven by the software that runs our entire system. Now what's really interesting, this is made of silk. Silk will be our first zero waste fabric. So every piece that you see, every white piece, we'll be reusing. This is a sew node, not a sewing factory. It's a sew node because it's connected to everything else that we do. All these people are trained in the way we sew, the instructions that we put on the garments to enable sewers in all different configurations to be able to make anything. It's also our lab, because our goal is to develop software to be able to enable to have these factories, these sew nodes, run everywhere in the world. So the clothing that you buy will be made in your community, creating opportunities for people in your community. So after the garment's sewn, it comes in here, it's final pressed, and then final inspection. By the time it gets to this final inspection point, this garment has been measured, checked, viewed by cameras, checked by computers, 6, 7 different times. That's really important to ensure that every garment that we produce here, no matter where it's produced in factories distributed around the world, will be exactly the same every single time. Birmingham, Michigan, Fort Lauderdale, Los Angeles, Brooklyn. None of this clothing existed until the customer ordered it. By doing this, by making everything we make on demand, we eliminate 20% of the impact that fashion has on this industry. We eliminate transportation, which eliminates even more. We reduce the water usage, the dye usage, every bit of waste in this industry. We have a vision where this is an industry where it's actually good, and you can dress well and dress good, creating opportunities, creating jobs. Everybody you've seen in this factory gets paid a living wage. And that's the opportunity for this industry, and that's what we've built here. This couldn't have existed a few years ago. The technologies we use, we built this on blockchain and artificial intelligence, and yeah, it sounds like buzzwords right now, but you're actually seeing real production systems in order. Through every garment we produce, we get smarter, we understand how to make things better, and it's a new vision for this industry.